What's going on, everyone? It is your shaman, your sister in spirit, and your friend, Alicia Dunleavy here. And I am back with Devin, and we're going to be talking about some tools to really get into an embodied practice. So, Devin, talk to the
Hey guys.
people.
Hey guys. So if you listen to part one, you've gotten some taste of just like perspectives and feelings around having an embodied practice and like maybe things that might come up while you're having one. But let's not to have bullet points, but let's just talk a few of those things out and then how to find flow and kind of navigate because my embodied practice changes all the time. Um, So let's keep it simple. Let's not even talk about the body completely yet and talk about ways that maybe we could just bring this in that we can do every day. One of my favorite ways to have an embodied practice is having bath ritual. It has been an anchor for me to get in my body and just to feel good. And taking that time out to really care about this self-care, not just oh, I'm just going to take a bath with bubbles. That's the start of it, and it can be that, but the intention behind doing these things. So side note, let's think about mindfulness a little bit. Mindfulness and embodied living are just they're just two peas in a pod, because meditation and yoga is good. Why? Because it helps us, like we said before, being in your body in the present moment. And it kind of makes life magical when you're really present with it and you're not just going through the motions. So when I talk about a bath ritual and it not just being bubble bath put in, and I was well, actually it can just be that, because if all you have is bubble bath at your house, you don't need this whole big thing. You can intentionally clean the tub out so it's completely clean. Maybe you have natural cleaner, even better, because then you're working with plants. And then you have, okay, now I'm going to let that kind of air out. Maybe I have sage. Maybe you don't. Maybe I want to sage the bathroom before. Having this intention and having these, this is the ritual of doing this thing, it creates magic in our life. And having this deep intention of caring enough to take care of ourselves that way. I'm a mother. I think a lot of people who are caretakers in general, we don't really take care of ourselves all the way. And the biggest thing for my confidence and feeling good about myself has been really taking the time out to take care of me. So we already take showers, we already take baths, we already are probably cooking. So how can we look at these things and embody these things that we have to do every day? That's the first great way to start practicing it. Being intentional about how you put, even just watching yourself put the bubble bath in. It doesn't have to be I put a prayer on my in the water. That'd be great if you did. You don't need the crystals floating in. You don't need all of that. It can really just be the intention of, now I'm stepping my feet and feeling the sensation of stepping the feet into the water and submerging the body. And just seeing what comes up and how you feel. That is being embodied, and it's something that you're already doing. If you like to put ritual around it, it can be with this intention of cleansing your energy field, all the stuff that you took in from the day, to really just kind of purify and be a clean version of you. That's a nice way to look at it. The love and attention that you put into cooking can be an embodied practice. It half the time I'm just throwing nuggets in the oven, but when I take the time to cook the sauce, and this stuff takes freaking 4 hours, those are my favorite days, because I'm doing something that I had to do, that I should be doing, to have something healthier in the house or whatever. So there's love and care there. It's well, maybe I don't feel like cooking right now. Maybe I don't feel like washing these fucking dishes right now, but I'm doing it for me, and I'm going to be present with it. And how can I shift my mind out of hating this task into really loving it? That goes for food and clothes and dishes. I love just chopping things up, smelling things, feeling the textures. That's being embodied. And that's being sensual. We talk a lot about I've talked a lot about sensuality versus sexuality because I was so sick of being sensual and people sexualizing it. And I'm like, but even if I'm being sexy or if I'm oozing this sensual, like sacral chakra energy, it's not like dirty and it's not like for you either. So it's like, it's just an expression, but these are expressions. That's why, certain foods are aphrodisiacs and like we get triggered by smells in one way or the other. Like it can bring up a response in our body, when we're eating a strawberry, are we really eating that? Are we feeling the texture of the little hairs and the seeds? And is it a little sour? Is it a little sweet today? All of those things, like that's being embodied, is just experiencing life. It can be as simple as that. When we talk about tools to be more mindful, it helps, those tools definitely help us do things like the bath ritual and the cooking and whatnot. I didn't do those things before I had the other, but I didn't need the other to do those things. I just didn't know yet. I just wasn't as awake to it yet. Tools, yoga, meditation, breath, this stuff can be done at home. And like, as we said in the first part, it's all about experiencing what's going on in the body. So are you doing yoga to exercise or to be more flexible or for an aesthetic? That all those things are okay because I do that too sometimes. Right. And I'm embodying that experience. That's embodying that experience. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, but there's some other things that tend to come up and things that we need to look at. And that's when it gets like a little more spiritual and we're able to like start to learn those lessons and use them in the world. So like meditation, taking a breath work class is great. Yoga, but like going to the gym is an embodiment practice. Don't think you're not spiritual because you're going to the gym and moving your body. You need to move your body to move energy through, period. So it's like, it's about how you're doing it. It's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. Same thing with the bath. How aware, how conscious are you being to immerse yourself completely in this moment and in this thing? Journaling is great. Like all these things are great to do. Tai Chi, dancing, but like, as we said, like me and Alicia going out and going dancing, that's an embodiment practice. Maybe it's something she wouldn't have normally wanted to do or felt like comfortable doing, but she wants to embody that piece of herself. So she knew who to call to go and do it though, Yeah. Just like for me, when I want to embody, if I'm not going out and hiking and connecting with nature and it's something that I need to be doing, I know to call Kara, like right. Get me outside because I'm not getting outside, just like I hope that someone, when it comes to like kind of getting a little freer and just getting in that, I hope they would know that they can call me to go and do it, I want to talk a little bit about the cards because I think that tarot in some ways I'm like, if everybody, quote unquote, this voice in my head, if everybody can't take me like this, like I'm pretty woo over here with my little candle rituals and like all the shit that I be doing. And, I want to express those things. And I think even with tarot, when I first started reading them, it is intuitive and the way that I do it is intuitive. But tarot is all about archetype embodiment. It's like every picture on each of these cards, it's either this big soul, like the major arcana, it's this like a big soul journey that we all go through. And the minor is stuff that we all also go through, but they're like the smaller, more like subtle energies and experiences of the human experience. So when we get a tarot reading or we're reading our own tarot, it's like, how do these cards have a language with each other? How does this apply to my life? How do I embody the high priestess? How do I embody the emperor? Just like being in different zodiac seasons and embodying the energy that we're in. Like we're in Capricorn season, baby. I might be all fiery and stuff, but I've been napping. I don't want to do shit. But that's also because my Taurus moon is also Earth, and it's like, yeah, like I really like to relax. So it's like, but there's also like, I got to get this money. I got to make sure my structure's right. I'm feeling that pressure. Like January 1st is in Capricorn season, when it's like Capricorns like to hustle. So it's like we get these subtle energies kind of, this is maybe getting a little woo, but I like to embody the zodiac through the entire year. I've been doing it for years, and I've been using the tarot as like, where am I right now? What do I need to embody right now? When I have going through a underground journey experience in life, and that's my embodiment in that time, whether I like it or not. Like, it's like, you're either gonna go with this, or it's gonna be a lot more conflict and resistance, and my energy feeling bad and sick. But when I kept pulling freaking Tower card for 3 months straight, and the Hermit card, it was like, bitch, if you don't just take care of yourself and move through this dark night of the soul, like, you need to do this. And like, it's just so crazy how beautiful like tarot can be used as an anchor of like, what do I need to be embodying? What is God? What is source? What is the universe? My guides are like trying to give me some tips here. How can I do that? So it can literally be as simple and as 3D as the things that we're doing in our everyday life. And then it can expand and grow. It can roll up the chakras and go all the way up to like, I'm connecting with the stars and the moon, and like, this is the energy of this moon, and how do I embody that? And sometimes I don't know how. Sometimes being embodied is just being open to what's going to come through. How many times it's been like a while ago, like not this Mercury retrograde that we're in, the one previously. I'm doing like a weekend energy report on Instagram, reading the cards for the weekend. I'm applying the fact that it's Mercury retrograde, and then starts on a Friday, full moon on a Saturday, or like Thursday, Friday. It was something like that. And then I just go out into the world, like one ear out the other. And then I wake up on like Saturday or Sunday, and just like allowing all of the energy of what happened to settle, and the embodiment of like what the card said, of it being Mercury retrograde, like the things that transpired in my life, because I'm aware and I'm noticing how I'm feeling while these things are happening. I see the lesson very clearly, and I'm like, whew, I forgot that part of me even existed. Whoa. And I think it's kind of ugly. I think she's not like that lovable. I'm like, you needy little bitch. Like, being honest, like,
Right.
and I was like, oh, there she is. But then I was like, what does she need? Because I've been doing this embodiment work for all of this time. It's like she needs something, and like, how do I give it to her? Or maybe like setting boundaries with the wrong people to give it to me, so that the right people can, like, but I wouldn't know how to navigate any of this shit if I wasn't embodying my life, being mindful, journaling, moving, breathing, grounding outside, having the right community, not having the right community, both, it's just, yeah, I feel like so that's like why you have to like go with the flow. Okay. I'm like, how do I bring that back around to the list? So that's my experiences. It changes. I haven't had a consistent physical yoga practice in a long time. I have a lot of stuff wrong with my back and my hips. And if I'm not going to the chiropractor consistently, like, I need a balance of things, or it actually doesn't feel super good to be doing yoga 4 or 5 times a week. Some people, that's what they need right now. It's not what I need. I've done some advanced training. I haven't finished it because I just wanted a break. But like, I went into like deep student mode, and that was me embodying my yoga practice, was the educational side of it. So it's like, we can embody different things different ways. I can paint instead of writing. I can write instead of paint. I can take a picture instead of doing either of those things to express my art. Why can't embodiment be the same way? It is the same way. Things are meant to be best expressed in different manners. So our embodiment practice is always going to change based on how we feel, based on what's happening to us. And if you're with the shits, based on the moon and what's going on with the planets, and even if it's a subtle energy, it still affects us and how we're navigating our human experience.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that.
Yeah.
So accurate. And like as you were saying all that, it just does like for those of you that aren't super familiar with yoga and like for all of you that might be extremely familiar with yoga, like know that yoga was like a super important part of my life, but like I didn't become a master of it because that just wasn't my journey. But like, okay, so for those of you that don't know much about yoga, yoga is not just an asana practice or just a meditation practice. Okay, like there are like multiple like limbs. There are multiple expressions of yoga, and you go into like Jnana yoga, which is like the education and the intellectual, side. There is the asana practice, which is like the movement practice. You do have your
Mhm.
meditation. You do have your like whenever okay, so whenever I went to learn yoga, it was like we woke up, we did our mantras. So we like did our mantras, so our prayer. A prayer can be an embodiment practice. Hatha
Mhm.
yoga, which was like a very gentle movement, can be an embodiment practice. Then we went into like Ayurveda and we had to like learn about the body. So education can be an embodiment practice. Then we did like a whole Ashtanga thing. So that was a whole embodiment practice. Then we had to do karma yoga, which was like cleaning the facility that we were in. That was a whole embodiment practice. And we also had in the morning we did breath work. So then that was like breathing is an embodiment practice.
Mhm.
And then we did a cleansing. So we had to do like the
Mhm.
netties.
It's
That
like
was
self
an
care
embodiment
is like
practice.
number one in yoga. You got to care
Yeah.
about yourself and care for yourself and your temple.
Yeah.
How can we feel these energies moving through us, and like you're cleaning literally the space, the inside? All of this is just kind of like purification, so you can like kind of live out the human experience the best the best way, like, you know.
Optimize, like in the
Yeah,
optimal way.
optimize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I love how Devin kind of like hit like she talked about food and eating, right? She talked about like how an embodiment practice in food, like cooking and bathing and cleansing and movement and breath and mindfulness. Like these are all things that like I'm not saying like that yoga taught us, right? But when we are super connected with ourselves, then we find out that there is a flow
Mm.
that kind of comes in. And asana practice is not going to be, it's not it especially when it comes to like I'm doing up down down dog. No,
Yep.
for me it went from doing a yoga practice that was super important, specifically yoga based movement, right? Yoga inspired movement, to now the movement that inspires me the most is dancing and walking. Like
Yep.
that feels so good to me. I genuinely enjoy it. Um, and that was really hard because there's a part of my psyche that's like, no, you're not exercising unless you're doing your yoga practice because that's what you did for 3 years of your life,
Yep.
or you're not doing a healthy movement practice because you're not going to the gym, which is what you've done majority of your life, and now it's
Wait.
like, okay, I'm different,
Mhm.
and now it's time for me to accept what actually feels good to me and to go ahead and work through that and do that and own it and be unapologetic about it and just
Yep.
like and if I want to do something else then I can do something else, but I
Yep.
have to be willing to continue to show up in that discomfort, in inspired action, and just do it, no
Absolutely.
matter what kind of restriction, shame, guilt, fear, discomfort is coming up in my body. Just being like, okay, can I breathe? Can I push past this? Can I just play,
Right.
and see what happens.
And I think like when we brought up like the food aspect of that too, like this is just like gnawing at me a little bit of like embodiment also just kind of being a choice of like, like, yeah, are you Vedic eating and this and that, and diet, it's such like a hot topic, and a we're talking about yoga and purifying and food, but also being mindful and being embodied is like when you want to like maybe binge eat one night, like you telling yourself you can't is what's making you out of control when you do. So it's
Right.
like, could we open up to the full experience of, but what if maybe it's like not best for my body, but something about this is pacifying. Not to say you can't ever do it or you should always do it, but like even that of like just listening, like maybe this will like maybe mac and cheese soothes me right now. Like when I make red sauce, it is soothing to me. Eating all of the bread with it and like all of that might not be, or Christmas cookies. Like I put on my story, I was like, I'm I feel evil right now. And like, I was like joking about it, but like, straight up, when I, after Christmas, my mom makes all these cookies. I'm eating Christmas cookies for days. I won't even eat real food. I'll wake up and I just drink coffee and just start eating them. And that's my day of cookies. And then I feel like shit. But I'm like, but there's something so like satisfying about like I'm being present with it. Like this is a
Mm,
conscious choice, you know, like, and that's
yeah,
still okay too. And I think like the yoga, it's like all of this stuff, these tools, like you don't always have to lean into embodiment to purify your vessel so you have this
right.
optimized living. It can also to be extremely human and be like, this is where I'm at today, you know.
Yeah.
My house is a wreck. I should be cleaning. That's always my big one. I'll always be cleaning, but like being like, it looks so bad. If I were to lay around and do nothing today, I'm like worthless. Like is what my brain is telling me. But saying, you know what? But like I really want to lay around all day. This isn't the worst thing to be doing. It's okay. My house is lived in. I have a 5-year-old. We're both creative types. There's crayons and markers and
Yeah.
crafts like all over this place, you know, on the floor, in the couch, on the couch, written on the couch. I mean, it's just free for all creativity here. And it comes with mess. And it's like, okay, you know, and just allowing myself to rest and not, you know, that's an embodied practice of saying, like, just because something is telling me this isn't the right embodiment right now, but my body wants this, can I really listen to my body and let myself rest? Even if a part of me wants to say no and shame myself. And then what happens? I usually end up being, I usually have 1 or 2 days a week where I am insanely productive, insanely. And then I can just rest and enjoy and live in the flow of life. So it's like, is it wrong then? Because it's like not a 9 to 5, or I'm not doing things the way like we were taught to do. We just circled all the way back around to that box that we
Yeah.
talked about in the beginning of the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, it's interesting. Like the whole embodiment practice is a journey. Like I think
Yep.
that's the real thing. It's like it's a journey back to yourself and unapologetically, courageously like listening to yourself, hearing yourself, seeing yourself. It's so healing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really wild. And the last thing that I wanted to offer everyone
Yep.
is like my tool of embodiment, which it's one that I use, but it's one that I'm feeling called to practice right now again, which is gentleness. So
Mm.
for me, gentleness is about like even as I'm sitting here, like how can I sit more gently? And then I realize where I'm holding a lot of tension in my body.
Mm,
How can
yeah.
I talk more gently? So that way I'm not talking so loud and like using up so much energy. Like sometimes I feel like whenever I am in um fight or flight mode, when I'm in go, go, go mode, I'm trying to prove something or be something outside of myself, um, I can kind of get this tension and speed and yeah, speed about me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I ask myself, like, when I say the word gentle, it's like, how can I talk to myself more gently? Like you're being a little hard. Like, how can you slow
Yeah.
down? Can so how can you wash the dishes more gently? How can you cut your food more gently? It's not slowing me down by any means, but what it's inviting is a certain level of mindfulness. Sometimes I think the word mindfulness can be super triggering to me because I'm such a thinker. So mindful makes me think that I need to think again or think more into what I'm already thinking about.
Yeah.
Use the word gentle, it is the same vibration or energy as mindfulness because what I'm asking myself to do is like actually be present with what I'm doing. So like
Mm.
do it softer, maybe do it a little slower. Like when I'm cutting a lemon, can I feel the knife going into the lemon? Can I smell the essence, like the smells coming off of terpenes? That's a Kara word, right?
Yeah.
Coming off of the lemon. Can I just be more engaged with my life through the modality of gentleness? And
I
like even
love.
when I do that now, like as I said that and did that, I can actually feel how buzzy I've been. throughout this and through the sitting with you and like sitting in this
Mhm.
process. Um, so yeah, that's the tool I wanted to share.
Yeah, I love that. I love looking at it as gentleness because like getting in that free it is the same as mindfulness. When you get into that frequency and really feel that, that's and then it's wild because it's like, oh, when I'm gentle, everything really does come alive.
Mm,
Like, oh, I was so blocked off and so rigid that I would, oh, I gotta hurry up and cut this lemon. Wouldn't have noticed any of that versus like, or eating a strawberry and it's like, the experience or an orange, like, or any food. I just love citrus, I guess.
yeah. I
but
love eating grapefruit like that.
yeah, just taking the time and like savoring. It's, you have to take the time, you have to soften and you have to be gentle to really get there. And, you know, it's like how you can't even my ADHD was like have like as soon as I heard myself say it, like you have to do this to get there. But then that even that language around that, it's like isn't necessarily gentle. It feels like, well, I have to do this. Like it would be nice if you did to get into that frequency, you
Yeah, it's
know.
something to play with. You want to, if you're interested in playing with something or, trying something, it's an opportunity, it's a possibility, it's an invitation to, my Gemini, it's like, let me think of more ways to say this one concept. Like there are a million ways to say this one thing for, to tap into the vibe of it. But yeah, I love that. Are there any final messages that you would love to share in terms of tools before we wrap up today?
I don't know. I feel like we really did good with talking about everything about that. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
I think anything else would just be opening up a new can of worms. So,
I love that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Devin.
of course, thank you for asking me.
I love this chat. I'm so excited to share it with anyone and everyone that finds it. And I just love you so much. Thank you for being you. Like I really appreciate who you are and who you live out to be. And you just do it so well. And it really does inspire me in ways that can't even I really can't even begin to describe. Like, I think that if you wouldn't have been in my life, I don't think that I would be the force that I'm discovering that I am today. Like, I wouldn't love myself to the capacity that I love myself without you, um, loving yourself to the capacity that you love yourself. Like, witnessing you has been so healing for me. And, I'm just so honored to be a part of your process and, yeah, to be in your
Thank
life.
you. That was intense love. So I'm a little. Thank you so much. I love you
I
so
know.
much. I'm always pouring it out on you.
Yeah,
So,
I
you know.
know. I do know. I do know. And I'm so grateful. All right, everyone. Well, again, all of Devin's information is going to be down in the description box below. So feel free to connect to watch her live her life out in her creative way. Her life really is a piece of art, and I hope that you all get to witness it and love her and learn from her embodiment as much as I have. And please like, comment, subscribe, share it with some friends. Yeah, leave some comments. Like, what are some of your favorite things that you heard? What are some of the things that you feel like you want to apply to your life? And maybe even I would love to hear what are some embodiment practices that you do as well, right? There's a huge list. And for those who are looking to try something new or to get a little out of their comfort zone, I would love to see some of the things that you do. I would love to try them. So please feel free
uh,
to engage and be a part of it. So let's go.
Woohoo!
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.